First off, I hate New Year's. I'm gonna start off by saying, what was the biggest challenge for you to carry? Obviously you have your co-stars and they're a big part of the narrative, but you're carrying this movie and acting is a big part of your passion. But what was the biggest challenge for you because you're in every frame of this film?
Um, I think just getting out of my head because everything that you said was very much on my mind. I kept getting in my head and saying, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I can't lead this. And then I would, I'm a big fan of Ashley and Candice, and they've been, I mean, Ashley's done so much TV and film. She's incredible. She was on Broadway. She's just on the Fosters. She was on Nickelodeon and Disney forever. And she's just so seasoned. Her credits just stack up, and mine are like, right here. And Candice is amazing. I watched some of her storyline on The Magicians. I think it was Magicians. Hope I'm not getting it mixed up with another thing. And she's been on so many incredible shows too. And I was really intimidated because I kept thinking in my head, why am I carrying this film? Maybe I'm not the right cast. Like maybe there was a mistake. Like that's kind of how I think about things a lot. And sorry, I just ate really spicy food and probably not a good idea. But yeah, it was scary. So I think the thing I had to overcome was just keep focusing on the task at hand. I like to think of myself as a horse in Central Park. Just, what do I need to do? What can I focus on today? How can I um, feel myself in the story and think about the story and what the character is going through and just try to do justice to the story as much as possible. Because as soon as I start to worry about Dia, everything else about Lane and the beautiful world that has been built in I Hate New Year's gets lost.
I mean, I think probably did the music in this film help you because in a way you're performing the music, you're collaborating with the music, but you're also working on other singer-songwriters and collaborating. Is being sort of a step removed away from the process instead of it being your own solo work? Did that really help you get into the role? And was the music element a huge part of why you wanted to just take this project on? Because I love the music in this film.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, the music was great. And that was kind of the first thing I was thinking about when I heard that I booked the job is I just wanted to hear the music as soon as possible. And when I listened to the tracks, I was so relieved and I thought, oh, these songs are really good. Because sometimes I'll listen to music films and it's not my personal taste. But the music was great and it was really fun to step into somebody else's shoes. A song like Flatline is definitely more kind of pop and sassy, not something that I would necessarily write myself. So it was really fun to find that part of me, as cheesy as that sounds. And then the part of the end, just writing a song specifically for somebody that you love. It felt really nice. And that's something that I haven't done in a really long time. And sometimes as a songwriter in my real life, I can get really jaded. I can start to just get worried about the next job and, trying to make a living doing this. And so they'll send me a song they need for a commercial and I'll just be working on that. And it's really easy to kind of lose my way with the message that music can bring. And so it was really fun to have that song for Cassie at the end of the film. I guess spoiler alert, but yeah, it
Spoiler
was really
alert.
special.
You're talking about your acting resume being like this. That said, I'm sure the learning was like this on this project. In intangible forms, what were the biggest lessons you've learned and lessons that maybe you'll carry on to just your future acting work and projects?
Mm-hmm. I think watching Candis and Ashley was incredible. And they just effortlessly go in and out of character and they came fully prepared, but they were also able to play. I think sometimes some actors can come with the plan of like, this is how I'm going to do it. And this is how things are going to go. But if Kristen, the director, gave a note or maybe try it this way, or let's do it this time, like, like you're late for something or with more, have it be more apologetic or something, like they were just so able to take notes, but I mean, they didn't even have many notes. It was usually me who had notes. I think it was really great to see Candis and Ashley also in every take, they would bring something different to it. And also, one thing that was really nice, which this didn't happen a lot with them either, but if like a line was flubbed or something was missed, they just stayed in it and would just start again and kind of stay in character and stay focused. And I'm the kind of person who, if I miss something, I'm like, oh, sorry, let's go back and do it again. Or, and I just kind of break the world and break everything. And they just stayed professional and calm and human and would roll right into it and just nail it. So it was kind of about just owning the space. And I learned that from Ashley and Candis, but obviously in a really sharing way.
You know, on a selfish level, I really love that this movie is made because not a lot of movies spotlight this type of love story. And it's really, really earnest. Also on a selfish level, I'm turning 50. I watch movies for a living. I rarely see movies that are headlined by Asian Americans. You as an actor and as an artist, do you ever consciously say, wow, there's not too many Asian Americans in cinema these days? Or do you see it from a different vantage point where there's actually more opportunities branching out? And that's maybe my theory is maybe a myth that's gone by.
No, I think that's pretty accurate, Greg. And I think I've become much more aware of it now as an adult. That when I was a kid, I didn't see any Asian Americans on television. But as a kid, also, I wasn't like, Mom, why aren't there Korean Americans on television? Or why isn't this happening? Watching Mickey Rooney and Breakfast at Tiffany's, it wasn't this crazy thing to me or so offensive. I was kind of just like, oh, that's the way Hollywood works, is anyone can play anyone or anyone can be anything. And I've become so much more aware of that now and have been looking for opportunities. And also, I want to bring Asian Americans as lead characters. I want to normalize that and also bring Asian Americans to stories that don't have to be an Asian American story. Like you see a movie like Crazy Rich Asians, which was, set in Singapore, and it had a lot to do with the culture. I think it was Chinese culture. And a lot to do with that world. But I would just like to see a movie like I Hate New Year's, where there's two Asian Americans as the leads, but it doesn't have to do with, it's not set in the Philippines or set in South Korea, and it's not about a South Korean musician trying to break out. It's just a regular story because we can be regular people and not have to be doing taekwondo or be a math genius or be the bad driver that's yelling at somebody like for a split second in a film. And when I learned that Ashley was my co-star in the film, I was pretty surprised because that doesn't happen very often. And I kind of thought, okay, they've got their diversity checklist off with me, so Cassie's probably going to be this thing. And then you also have an idea of a thing too, Nashville singer-songwriter, and I instantly think blonde hair, blue eyes. And then Ashley was cast, and I think that was so cool of them to do. I mean, Ashley's incredibly talented, so it wasn't a handout by any means, but it was just so cool to see Ashley as Cassie, and for two Asian Americans to be up front and center. That meant a lot to me, and I think the same to Ashley as well. And she just kills it in this. She's so good.
I'm not an artist, but I just wonder, one of the things that really speaks out regarding you as a solo artist, or you with Megan Dia, you don't mind being vulnerable in your songwriting or your music. I mean, I was just going on Spotify. I just checked out an hour and a half ago, Dear Heart. I mean, that's just, it's seemingly a simple song, but it just takes so much. You got to just rip your heart open to create something like that. And it seems like you've been doing it for a big part of your career and not putting a mask on. And I think that's a rare thing. And where do you find I guess, the gumption, the courage, and the resilience to actually put yourself out into your art where, just for everyone to see, whereas you can easily hide behind all that stuff because you're also you're a craftsperson as well.
I think that's kind of part of the job, and those are the actors that I gravitate towards, like Kate Blanchett, Meryl Streep, and of course Marlon Brando's a given. Ed Harris. There's just so many incredible people that you see kind of bare their souls out there, and uh, there. What's the quote? It's one of my a really great acting teacher. She said, "The thing that you most want to hide is the thing that people most want to see."
Mm.
And that really struck a chord with me because people aren't going to the movies to watch this perfect thing reflected back at them. They're going to the movies to take a look in the mirror and kind of see parts of themselves. And if I'm not going to go there, then they can't go there, because that's my job, is to kind of lead them by the hand into this world or into this universe and these emotions and this journey. And it's scary, but I honestly think also just going to class and going to acting class and going to I was trained at UCB improv for comedy,
Well,
and that also weirdly kind of knocks you off your feet, and you have to jump into the comedy sketch, and you have no choice but to look like a complete idiot. Um, and you just have to show yourself, and I think that's part of the job, and it's also kind of the fun part of it too.